which is 20 years at the helm. On Manus Island, Sean Dorney, Port Moresby.
They're working for the NBC and ended up playing for the national side for 2 years.
As Papua New Guinea prepares to celebrate the golden jubilee of its independence, marking 50 years of sovereignty from Australia, memories of the nation's early days come vividly back to those who witnessed its birth. Among them is Sean Dorney, ABC's longest-serving correspondent in Papua New Guinea, who shared some of the unforgettable moments leading up to that historic day. September 16th, 1975. Dorney recalls the enormous challenges faced by Sir Michael Somare, the man who would become known as the father of the nation. It was no easy task for Somare to unite the many diverse leaders across Papua New Guinea, forging coalitions and building trust among groups with distinct cultural backgrounds. Yet, against the odds, Somare succeeded. His leadership helped stitch together the beginnings of what would become one of the most culturally diverse countries in the world. Over the course of his career, Dorney travelled the length and breadth of Papua New Guinea, covering stories for ABC News. In doing so, he not only reported on the nation's unfolding history, but also became part of it. Along the way, he developed close friendships with many of the country's founding fathers and leaders, gaining rare insights into their hopes, struggles, and triumphs. Papua New Guinea became more than just a story for Sean Dorney. It became home. He met and fell in love with a Papua New Guinean woman, and together they built a life, raising 2 children who are now grown. Today, as the nation prepares for its 50th anniversary of independence, Dorney reflects with wonder and pride. He still finds it incredible how a land so richly divided by language, culture, and tradition managed to come together as one people, one nation, and one country. To him, Papua New Guinea remains one of the most fascinating and beautiful places on Earth, a land of diversity, resilience, and extraordinary spirit.
I spent 3 terrific years, actually, up there working for the NBC and ended up playing for the national side for 2 years. And on my last appearance, captaining the Kumuls, which was an extraordinary thing for someone who wasn't even a citizen of the country. And the best thing I ever did in my entire life was meet this one here. My wife, Pauline, I took an immediate interest in her, which for some time she did not reciprocate. But eventually, I broke her down and we ended up getting married in 1976. And we've got 2 kids and now 3 fabulous grandkids. So it's been a wonderful relationship, and Pauline's been an absolute tower of strength. As a journalist, being there in those years leading up to independence and then immediately after, that was when I was working for the NBC. I just found it to be just an absolutely, bewildering but fascinating and interesting place. There was a real sense of expectation and hope. It was, a very, very exciting time, and I got to travel around, the country with some of the leaders. I got to know Michael Somare and Julius Chan, Yimbaki Okuk. I don't think I met one of those significant Papua New Guinean leaders who I didn't like. I, got to know Michael Somare really well. His political party, the Pangu Party, was relatively strong, but when you think of it in Australian terms, the Pangu Party never had more than about 1/4 or 1/5 of the seats. So putting together governments in Papua New Guinea requires an enormous amount of coordination and urging and talking to other leaders, and putting coalitions together is something that Somare was, a master at.
It was confusing, actually. I don't think a lot of people really understood just what independence was about. And I think there was a lot of apprehension about the country, this time.
Oh, there was a real reluctance from many of the Highlands provinces to move that rapidly to independence, because the Highlands was opened up, to the outside world much later than the coastal areas. The most memorable was covering changes of government, but also I suppose some of the big stories that I covered up here involved natural disasters. I got up to cover the volcanic eruption in Rabaul, which was just absolutely extraordinary.
36 hours of violent volcanic activity has left most of Rabaul covered by a thick layer of ash.
Tsunami that hit Itapi, near the border with Irian Jaya, was caused enormous devastation. You could see that people who had lost not only lives of their loved ones, but everything else as well had just been swept away. It's got enormous natural resources, Papua New Guinea, and one of the greatest natural resources it's got, of course, are its people. It is just so diverse. It's just, I think, the most interesting place on earth.